You're listening to the Journey Podcast. What if the journey through betrayal could lead to unexpected growth, resilience, and healing? Discover more in this episode. This episode contains adult subject matter, and some listeners may be triggered by this content. Listener discretion is advised. Hi, I'm Petra Brunbauer, and with decades of experience with sadness, pain, anxiety, and stress, I finally figured out how to leave all that behind. And this podcast shows you how to break free permanently so you can reclaim your sanity and find the self-esteem and energy to go after the life you desire. With real talk about mental health, holistic healing, and the tough journey of coming out the other end. This is the Journey Podcast. Welcome to today's episode. In this episode, we explore the profound impact of betrayal on our lives and the journey of transformation that can emerge from such an experience. We discuss the complexities of betrayal, acknowledging the deep emotional wounds it can inflict and the challenges it presents in rebuilding trust and relationships. Vanessa Cardenas believes that self-love and self-trust can be reignited even in the wake of the most devastating betrayals. Vanessa is a dedicated betrayal recovery specialist, transformational coach, inspirational speaker, and author with over 20 years of experience as a C-suite executive mentor. She holds a degree in industrial psychology and is certified in various disciplines including trauma coaching, life coaching, Post-Betrayal Transformation Institute host, 6-phase meditation trainer, and mental fitness instructor. Vanessa's unwavering dedication to betrayal recovery is grounded in Eric Admetus's hindsight window theory, which enables individuals to reframe negative events. She empowers others to see betrayal not as mere pain, but as an opportunity for growth, gratitude, and a renewed sense of purpose. Leveraging her extensive background, Vanessa is dedicated to guiding individuals on the path to healing from betrayal, fostering genuine transformation and empowering them to reach their full potential. Let's meet Vanessa Cardenas. Hi, Vanessa. It's great to have you on the podcast today. I've been looking forward to getting to chat with you because betrayal is such a profound topic when it comes to mental health and holistic healing. So welcome to the podcast.
Oh, thank you so much. This is going to be such a great conversation on a really challenging topic. And we're going to have a little bit of fun. We are. And that sounds so strange. Wait a second. You're going to talk about betrayal. You're going to talk about when my heart was ripped out of my chest. And there's going to be a little bit of humor in it. That doesn't quite feel right. But yes, in hindsight, when we look back on our reaction to our betrayal and we see how far we've come, that puts a smile on your face of pride, of, yeah, I got all the way through. I'm so honored and privileged to be here today. So thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. And as you can tell, listeners can't see it, but I am smiling because I know that you're right. Let's take that journey together and let's dive into that. And then let's look back and actually give ourselves a pat on the back. And we've made it here. We've made it through. So that's what we'll look back to at the end of the episode. For starters, Vanessa, do you want to share a little bit about yourself? And I mean, you're a betrayal recovery specialist. That's a very intriguing thing. So tell us who you are and where you come from and how you have come to do what you do today.
I have to say right out of the gate, I was addicted to certainty. I thought for sure that if I checked off all the right boxes, if I went to a good school and got a good job and married somebody really nice and strong and a provider and had 2 kids and the cars and the money in the bank, that I'd be inoculated from anything terrible happening to me. I was everything to everyone. I wore my superhero cape really well. Yeah, the edges were frayed a little bit. It was a little faded, but I wore it with great pride. And somewhere along the way, I lost myself and I didn't even realize it. I truly didn't. I was my husband's wife. I was my children's mother. I was known that way. I'd be introduced at events as my husband's wife and my children's mother. And when you have children and you go to PTA meetings, you know that, oh, that's Daniel's mom. Oh, that's Sarah's mom. You almost lose your identity. I can tell you this, when you go through betrayal, especially intimate partner betrayal with your spouse after decades of marriage, whew, you really find out a lot about yourself and who you are. And that was me. I sat on a park bench with my husband, happy go lucky, people watching. And my husband said, Vanessa, there's something I need to tell you. And I turned to look at him and it was in slow motion. He said, I've met someone. My whole world shattered in an instant. And the movie that played in my head instantaneously was him walking down the aisle with another woman, having babies and house and cars and honeymoon on a beach, everything. In a split second, I saw that movie play in my head and I fell apart. I completely fell apart. I fell hard and deep into the darkness. And it was so gut wrenching for me. I couldn't understand how I, as a smart woman, I had a psychology degree, how I didn't see this, how I didn't see it coming. I didn't see the red flags, nothing. I fell apart. I truly, truly did. I was a shell of myself. I was on autopilot for months. I just couldn't shake how I was feeling and the mistake that I made. And I own up to it. And again, psychology major, I didn't ask for help. I thought that I was strong enough to get through this on my own. Oh, that was such a mistake. That was such a mistake. And I remember distinctly after finally agreeing to go to counseling and therapists and coaches and everything else that I cracked open. I was holding everything in, trying to keep all the cracks, like the finger in the dam, not to let it all explode because I could feel it. I could feel the rage starting to come out of me. And I didn't want to explode beyond that day, that discovery day when my husband shared this with me. I raged. I raged in a way I've never seen. How I was not arrested that day in Central Park, I have no idea. I wasn't even myself. I just couldn't believe what I was going through. And it took me hitting rock bottom, because you can't go any further than rock bottom, really. But I hit the ground so hard and shattered into a zillion pieces that I recognized and realized I needed to do something. And it wasn't so much my marriage or him, it was me. It was truly me. Not that I'm taking responsibility for his actions. Oh, no, 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 no. His actions, his responsibility, everything else. My reaction to that day, my reaction to that news, my reaction to how I felt about myself really came into play. And I remember distinctly screaming at my marriage counselor that there has to be a reason why I'm going through so much pain. There has to be a reason. I can't feel this way for no purpose. There has to be a purpose. And then suddenly I was searching for a purpose. And I got the nudge. I refer to it as the nudge. I made a promise to God, source, spirit, if you could just give me a reprieve from so much hurt and so much pain, that I promise that once I got the healing that I needed, that I would help someone else. Only until I got the healing, not that I would go through the healing journey and take somebody with me and we do the healing journey together while I'm still healing. No, 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 no. It doesn't work that way for me. I needed to go through it myself first. I needed to go through that journey and really figure out what was best for me. Because just like every single relationship that you have is unique as your fingerprint, so is your betrayal recovery journey. My path is not necessarily the same path of my clients. They're not, or any of the people in my support group. We're all going towards the same goal. We want to heal. We want to feel better. We want to find ourselves. We want to reestablish our relationship with ourselves first. We want to forgive ourselves. We want to trust ourselves. It really is a recovery of yourself. Then it's your relationship. And a lot of others do the opposite. They attempt to fix their relationship first and then maybe fix what's going on with them. And let me rephrase that if I could, because I don't like the word fix, because it implies that you're broken. You're not broken. No, 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 no. Something terrible has happened to you, but it wasn't about you. It truly wasn't about you. Your partner's actions, their responsibilities. Yes, you feel broken. You feel so broken. But no, you don't need to be fixed. You need to be healed. And there's a really big difference on that. And there's a wonderful, wonderful concept of, I believe it's in China, that when something's broken, you put it back together and you use gold glue, so that you have a new masterpiece when you put it back together. And that's me. I feel like a masterpiece. I am so far removed from that day in Central Park. It has been years. And now I have the distinct honor and privilege, and I take it as a privilege, to help others recognize what is in front of them, what has just happened, because some, when they experience that betrayal, go completely numb, like they just don't feel anything. They can't even process what just happened. Others rage, others go through all kinds of emotions, and we start that journey. And again, it's not my journey. No, 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 no. It's my client's journey. It's everybody's individual journey. But the most important thing, there are three things that are the most important thing. First, it is not your fault. It is absolutely, unequivocally not your fault. The second thing is, though something terrible, terrible has happened to you, it wasn't about you. It truly wasn't about you. And that's a really hard concept for us to wrap our heads around. But when you're on that healing journey and you have that epiphany and that realization of, wait a second, their actions, they did this. It just cracks you open in a new, enlightening way where that healing pours in from that moment on, because you have crossed the threshold of self-love, self-forgiveness, self-trust, because that's what we're really talking about, is trust. The third thing is, it's okay not to be okay. It's okay not to be okay. Be gentle with yourself. Just don't live with all of those emotions. Don't have your body become the coffin for all of those emotions that you are feeling because of the betrayal. You will get through to the other side. And I can tell you this, it's beautiful over here. It absolutely is. I love who I am now. Oh, and before betrayal, no, I couldn't quite look in the mirror and say that with all honesty. I was proud of being a mother. I was proud of being a wife and a worker and an employee and a friend and a family member and everything else, because I was everything to everyone else. Now I'm everything to me first. It's me first. I fill my cup up first before I share it with everybody else, because I'm the best version of me now. Oh, it's so glorious.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that journey with us. And I have to say, when you were talking about that day in Central Park, I could feel that lump in my stomach, because I think when somebody says we need to talk, or I have met someone, there's that moment where you just feel that lump. It's like this moment where everything stands still and there's just this rock inside. So I was like, oh no, I know what's coming. So yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. And I'm wondering, in that moment, so for you, you felt rage. Other people, like you said, they go numb. Some people might just walk away because they simply can't deal with that at that time. It's too much. Looking back now, as someone who has done the healing, who is coming out the other end, what would you say is some important steps that women should take in those first hours, that first day, when they don't really know what's happening? There's so much coming at them. They might have gotten the same news that you have, that they met someone else, or they're leaving, or whatever the message is that they've received. What is something that they can do? What would be a good first step in those first few hours or days where you just don't even know what's hit you?
First things first, slow down. Everything is racing. It is going at light speed. Slow down. Take a breath. Take another breath. Recognize that this is happening and almost tell yourself, okay, all right. And just take a moment, take another moment, take 3, take 4, take 10 moments. Slow down. The second thing is, I know. Oh, it's so tempting. It is. Oh, it's almost intoxicating. We want to tell everyone. We want to scream it from the mountaintops. We want to take a Louisville slugger to both headlights, as Carrie Underwood said. Oh, we just want to share it with everyone. Once you let the toothpaste out of the tube, you will not be able to get it back. A word of caution is to slow it down and really decide who you want to share it with. Because if there is any type of reconciliation being considered, it's really hard when you have those around you who know the story, have their own judgment of the story, and now you feel their judgment. Suddenly it's their decision whether you stay and reconcile or whether you go. And that becomes very, very challenging because suddenly it's a group decision. It's really not a decision for a group. It's your decision. And it's not a decision to make right away. Unless your safety is an issue, pause, slow it down. In my particular case, I really needed to slow it down, and I didn't. I didn't at all. As I said, that movie played in my head in a split second. Also, because I raged, my husband turtled. He went inward. He didn't want to speak about it or talk about it. He was very overwhelmed with the feelings of it. As it turned out, again, because I thought I was smart enough and I thought I got the psychology degree, I can do this. I didn't ask for help for so long that when we did get the help that we needed, we desperately needed that help. I realized through therapy that he had a poor choice of words. I've met someone. He did meet someone, but he wasn't interested in her. He liked her attention. He liked the fact that she was caretaking his confidence. Oh, he really enjoyed that. But he wanted that from me. And we had lost that intoxication of when we fell in love. We became executives and the house and the cars, and we micromanaged our household and ourselves and our relationship. We fell into that. It became comfortable. We lost sight of a responsible relationship. We just had a relationship. And what he was trying to tell me on that fateful day was, I've met someone who's paying attention to me. I really like the way it feels, but I want it from you. He didn't get a chance to say any of that. He said 3 words and I completely fell apart. And he didn't know how to recover from that because in my mind, I had already raced through everything else. So slow it down. Decide who you're going to talk to about it, because keep in mind, once you let the toothpaste out of the tube. The third thing, and this one's a difficult one, ladies, have an appointment with your GYN. Set up an appointment, get tested. Even if he tells you there's no physical contact whatsoever, you'd rather know. You'd rather know if you have an STD. And I know it's really, really difficult, and it's really difficult walking into your doctor's office saying, "Hi, can I have a panel?" Because you'll hear judgment. I'll tell you this, the most difficult conversations for a GYN to have, other than you've lost your pregnancy, you won't be able to get pregnant, is, "I'm sorry to tell you, I know you've been married for 20 years, but you have an STD." It's a difficult conversation for your GYN to have. I suggest that you make that appointment for your own peace of mind. Because if it comes back negative, I'm not saying that that does not mean that they have not had a physical relationship, but at least you're okay. Those are the three things right out of the gate to consider. Slow it down, decide who you're going to talk to about it, and set up that appointment.
Yeah, that's a really good point. It's not top of the mind when you're going through all of those emotions and everything's happening. It's not the first thing that you're going to think about. So, yeah, make sure that you're safe and that you're healthy, because you don't really at that point know what's happened. So, yeah, that's a really, really great advice. And I mean, you had children together when that day happened. So you were also working and had things to take care of for your career. So, how do you function with that happening, that emotional sledgehammer coming down on you? How do you function through the day to day lives? I mean, a lot of women are really afraid to fall apart in front of their kids, or that they're not able to take care of them because of what's happening. So, how do you function through that first while until you can get your legs back under yourself? How do you do that?
It's ridiculously challenging. And we go back to, who do you share it with? Who do you talk to about it? And you do need a support circle around you. You absolutely do. Whether that's your rabbi, your clergy, your reverend, somebody spiritual nature, a really close friend, confidant, a parent, a sibling, again, somebody that you know that you can trust, that won't take a Louisville Slugger Days headlights. You need that support circle. A word of caution on online. We become warriors with our thumbs. We do. We absolutely do. We can hide behind the screen. We can post anonymously. You want to be really careful with that. You can incite a mob over your story. Share your story, and everybody rallies up and says, "Yes, leave his ass," and then others say, "You know what? Find your faith in God and go forward." Others can say, "Well, there's probably an addiction." Again, there's so many different avenues. You want to be careful. You want to protect yourself. You want to slow it down. Yes, you will cry. You will cry. You'll cry in the shower. You'll cry at the drop of a hat. You will. You want to show your strength for your children, but you also want to be honest with them. And depending on their ages, again, you don't have to share the full story. Mommy and daddy are having some issues. We're working through it. We're trying to use our inside voices. We're trying to communicate our feelings, because kids are perceptive. They truly are. And they're also little sponges. So you want to be careful with what exactly you are saying. But you want to find that support circle. You want to find those people that tell you not necessarily what you want to hear, because you can find anybody to tell you what you want to hear. You want to find those that will not pass judgment, will sit in the pain with you, will encourage you, and will hold you when you just need to be held, and just cry to get it out, to get all of those emotions out. And there's no timeline. There's not a situation where you could type in a lot of information into Google and say, "I've been married this long and I live here and this is my zip code and this is how much money I have in the bank. I have 2 kids. I have this, I have that." And it goes through an algorithm and spits out a number and says, "Oh, in 87 days, you'll be healed." doesn't work like that. You will have good days. You will have bad days. You'll have some really bad days, and then you'll have a good moment. The most important thing is to start stringing together those really good moments. And it's really important to do so. And one of the first things that I start with my clients on working on is communicating with themselves, because that nasty chick voice on the shoulder, oh, she comes out in full force. She's all over you. We want to work on tapping that down a little bit and just getting to know ourselves all over again. And then we work on the relationship. But it's you. It's really, really you. And it's okay. It's okay. This isn't your fault. This is not your fault.
Yeah. You said something really interesting when you were talking earlier. You said that you don't want your body to become a coffin for all those emotions that are going on. And how did you work through all of that? I mean, you eventually went to therapy. So that is one avenue that people can process all of these emotions. But if you're experiencing guilt or shame over not having seen this coming, that's one of the things that usually happens as well. Amongst all the other emotions that are going on, the pain, the hurt, everything else that's spinning around you, how do you process all of these wild emotions that are coming at you? Is it a good first step to ask for professional help right away, or did you find other avenues to process all of those emotions as well?
It's really individualized. I always recommend talking to someone. Someone needs to hear your story. Someone needs to hold space for you. I definitely preferred therapy, coaching, support groups, small support groups, not these really large 10,000 member support groups, small, intimate, 12 women or 12 individuals getting together, sharing their story, but more importantly, not living in their story, but what's next? Where do we go from here? What do we do? What are some techniques? What are some strategies? What should we do about this? For me, it really became when I grabbed a hold of the principle of that emotions are the glue that hold a memory. If my emotion of rage is the glue that's holding the memory of that day in the park. Now, if I can pivot ever so slightly from rage to, let's say, curiosity, I wonder what else he would have said had I not reacted this way. That pivot of curiosity, now curiosity is holding that memory. That's how I hold the memory now. Yes, does the rage still percolate and bubble sometimes? Yes, of course. But what really comes to the surface is that curiosity and the emotion of just, I wonder what. I wonder what. And that helps alleviate the rage. So now the memory, the emotion that glues that memory for me is curiosity. And with every single situation that we have in our life, we have an opportunity in hindsight to look at it, because when we look at it older, wiser, more knowledge, we can go back to that pivotal moment in time and see it a little differently. Oh, and we can be released of it. It's no longer super glue that's holding it to us. It's a little brittle, and we can actually pull away from it, and we can have peace. Peace. And we can be released of it. It's never going to go away. I'm sorry to say. Your betrayal, something terrible has happened to you, but it wasn't about you. And yes, it'll still sting here and there, and it'll still be a scar, but it won't be a gashing wound anymore. It truly won't. And dare I say, you'll be better for the experience. I'm not advocating betrayal. Don't misunderstand me. But if you're going to go through it, not around it, not under it, not over it, if you're going to go through it, you will be better for the experience.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. It's not something, again, that we think of first thing when we go through that, but with time, It does change, and it changes us, changes who we are, changes how we look at things, how we approach things. Now, one really important question for you. Can you trust again after you've gone through something like that? Can you find that again, that you can trust maybe a spouse, another partner, a loved one, whoever it is that betrayed you? Can you find that trust again?
It's challenging. The first person you need to trust is yourself. That is brick by brick, layer by layer by layer, having the confidence that if something terrible happens to you again, that you'll be okay, that you will be okay. The self-trust, it's paramount. It's intrinsic. You have to have it because it builds up your confidence. And the most attractive feature, both male and female, I know that we live, as I said, we're thumb warriors on our devices and we can swipe left and swipe right and we dismiss and everything else. But the most attractive quality is confidence. And confidence comes from trust. When we trust ourselves to know that, yes, we can make mistakes. We absolutely can, but we trust ourselves to get through it. And with betrayal, yes, you have to rebuild your self-trust first. Then you have to work on trusting others. And it is a brick by brick, layer by layer process. It can be destroyed in an instant, but rebuilding it is a slow, painstaking process. First and foremost is to be completely transparent, invisible almost, that your partner can see right through you. You are an open book. You just let it all out. That is golden. That is a really good starting point and a really good foundation. And it's layer by layer. And it's not allowing yourself to even have the little white lies. Did you let the dog out? Yeah, I let the dog out. And the dog's peed on the floor. Obviously, you didn't let the dog out. It's little things like that. And those build, those lies, those little lies, they build. So let's do the opposite. Let's build a brick at a time. Did you take the dog out? No, I forgot to take the dog out. Truth, check. That type of thing. But it can be done. Absolutely. Absolutely. And it really depends, again, on the uniqueness of your relationship and the uniqueness of the betrayal as well, and the uniqueness of the recovery and the recovery process, because it is unique. It truly, truly is. And what works for one person might not work for another. I could say something and someone else could say the exact same thing. And one listener will be like, wow, that is awesome. I absolutely love that idea. And another will be like, yeah, no, that does not feel right to me. That does not feel right to me.
Yeah, it is a very unique and individual journey, as is with all healing, right? What we go through. Now, I'm curious, and I'm curious if listeners are wondering this too. But after finding out what your husband had actually wanted to say in Central Park that day, did you consider or did you reconcile?
I can tell you this, that 3 days from now, we will be celebrating our 33rd wedding anniversary.
I'm glad I asked that.
We did,
Yeah.
in fact, stay together. My husband did most of the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
He truly, truly did. He really wanted to save our marriage because it was worth saving. There was so much love in there. And again, he went about it the wrong way. And he definitely learned his lesson in terms of how to properly communicate. And I also learned a lot of lessons throughout this whole process of me. A great example of this is I gave a keynote speech. And I walked off stage and they were serving buffet lunch. And I got online with everybody else. And there were two women ahead of me being a little judgy. I will say that. And one said to the other, "Oh my gosh, she's so full of herself." And I loved it. I ran right up to them and I was like, "Oh my gosh, you have no idea how much that means to me. Thank you so much for that compliment. It just warms my heart." And they were really floored because they thought that they were being a little condescending towards me. And I'm like, "Oh, no, 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 no. I am so grateful because, yes, I am full of me. It's me. It's not my children. It's not my husband. It's not my work colleagues. It's not my mother. It's not my father. It's not everybody else. It's me. I get to be me. And I would not have these amazing conversations with women who have gone through betrayal, or men that have gone through betrayal, or my support groups, or my clients, or the readers of my book, or my blog, or my articles online. I wouldn't have any of this had I not gone through betrayal. So for me, that is, as I said, I'm better for the experience. And I can say those that have had any kind of contact with me, they're better for the experience as well. Because I share it. I share it so freely. And I share it because I've already gone through it. I'm not going through it with you. I'm already on the other side. I'm over here. I'm cheering you on. Let's do this. We can do this. You will. You will get through it. You absolutely will. Just surround yourself with those that are supportive and can help you through. Don't try to do it alone. Really don't try to do it alone. It's so challenging and so difficult, and it delays and draws out the process unnecessarily, because life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and look around once in a while, you might miss it.
Yeah, that's so true. That is so true. That leads me into finding out a bit more about what you offer now, finding out about the programs, services that you offer, and community also. Do you offer a community where you work with your clients? I think that's really important as we're talking about support. So let us know, how can people work with you and how can they connect with you?
Mm. Well, definitely one-on-one is my favorite, because I just feel like we really get into the weeds. We really get in there and we start yanking the weeds out from the roots and really getting to the core of how best to get you through to the other side. So I definitely one-on-one treatments. They're golden. Absolutely are. I offer group sessions as well. For my community, I'm on the Meetup platform where we get together once a month. And usually I present for about 20 to 30 minutes on any given topic. Usually it's generated from questions that I get asked. In addition, I'm on Facebook and Instagram as well. I love both of those platforms. And then I have my own website, and my website's an interesting story behind it. I'm a very big Stephen King fan. I have loved his novels. They're so captivating, and I can't put them down once you start reading them. And I'm very old school. I love his early work. And one in particular starts off with a great quote, and I'm going to condense it. The hardest things to say are the most important things to say, not for the want of a teller, but for the want of an understanding ear. For years, I was the best kept secret in New York. I was just completely referral based, one referral to another to another. I wasn't even online, barely even had a business card. It was very word of mouth. And then I decided, you know what? I'm being selfish. I'm truly being selfish. I have so much wisdom to be able to share. I need to share it. So let me get out there. Let me get on Instagram and Facebook, and let me develop a website. And this quote immediately in my head of understanding ear. And I thought for sure I'd have to wrestle it away from somebody. It was free. It was there. It was there for the taking, and I could receive it. And I received it. So my URL is understandingear.com. It's perfect. It's perfect because, yes, you need an understanding ear. You need someone who's gone through betrayal. Yes, you can definitely find a therapist or a coach to work on a variety of topics. And they might be trauma-based, because this is a form of trauma, but it's a different form of trauma. Betrayal is unique as your fingerprint. You'd like somebody who has experienced what you have gone through. While different, still those range of emotions, those coffin that you're holding, your body's being that coffin. You do want to talk to somebody who has gone through the process and is not just textbook.
Yeah, it was like it was meant to be with that website. I love that. But that's the thing, right? When things are meant to be, they usually come around in unexpected ways. So, and that's fantastic. And of course, we will be linking to all of Vanessa's offerings in the show notes as well. So be sure to check there on her programs, how to reach her, how to connect with her on the socials. And if you'd like to work with her, make sure that you reach out and let her know, maybe take some one-on-one treatments with her or join the support group. All of that, I think, would be a wonderful, wonderful resource in this healing journey. And this has been another incredible episode. And I really hope that our listeners have enjoyed our journey into betrayal and found value in what we've talked about today. I think it has been so amazing and so important to talk about this, shed light on it, and really discuss the different kind of angles of what happens when you experience betrayal. It has been so fantastic chatting with you, and it is my honor and privilege to host you here today. So thank you so much for coming on and talking to us today.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
And take really great care of yourself, Vanessa. And we might do another episode. There, I think, is lots more to unpack. So
Absolutely.
we'll keep that in mind. And for now, take really great care of yourself, and we'll speak again soon.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to listen in. If you enjoy the Journey podcast, please support us by subscribing, sharing on social media, and leaving us a review. We appreciate you. And you can find more of The Journey on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and our website, thejourney.com. Sending you love and courage, and see you next time.